All right, all right, all right. We are live. We are rolling. We are ready to rock and roll. If you are in and if you are listening, drop a comment. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what's happening. It's not quite top of the hour, so we will wait for a few people to jump on and then we'll get rocking on some website tidbits here. So I'm just going to hang out. We've got one viewer here, which is awesome. Where are you from, random viewer of the internet, fellow internet lurker today? Drop it in the comments, whatever platform you are on. We can, chit chat. Oh, awesome. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, Francisco. Awesome to see you. Treasure Valley Holloway. We'll be chatting here in a little bit. I love it. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to do a countdown here, and then we will get rocking. Let's find the right logo here. There we go. Then I'm going to do a countdown, and then we'll dive in. If I can find the countdown here. There we go. All right, we've got Steve and Francisco on the line here today, live with us today. I'm sure we'll have more, but we're going to get right on going so that if you're watching on the replay, if you guys are watching here live, we're not just twiddling our thumbs and wasting everyone's time. So I'm going to get rocking here. I'm going to bring up the presentation and we're going to go through a webinar about websites. Now, there's a lot of things that I could cover on a webinar, so I'm going to try and be tactical here, give you guys some of the things that I see that people get wrong, give you guys some of the tips that we are doing for our clients now as we really head into embracing, what Google's really wanting to see, but ultimately what people are wanting to see on a website. And Google is wanting to see what people want to see because Google is trying to be for the people. So let's get rocking here. I'm going to present for some of it. I'm going to just do it live here in Canva for some of it, but we're going to get rolling. So the question is your website a dud or is it making you dollars? That's the question that you should be asking yourself. If you have a website, and if you don't have a website, I hope that you go away from this conversation here today. If you're in home services at the minimum, and a lot of other services as well, but you go away kind of seeing the reason that you should have a website and why you could be making more money if you have a website, but not just a website that you create and then stuff up on a shelf like an old brochure that you stuff in your grandma's attic here. So what can you expect? So you're going to hear a little bit about who I am. If you don't know already, what Blue Crocus does, you're going to kind of hopefully answer the question, do websites matter? Do they even matter as we go into this new age of AI? I'm going to give you some actionable tips. I'm going to actually get you guys to drop your website in the comments. I need a couple volunteers as I go through, and I'll be doing a live look at a couple things on those sites as we go. And then anytime you have questions, drop them in the comments and we'll try to answer them. So who is Lewis? Who am I? So I am a husband and a circus leader to 4 kiddos. Husband to an awesome wife, circus leader to 4 kiddos. Here's one of them on a walk last weekend, absolutely dumping rain, but we were having a blast. I have a background in construction and trades, worked in construction for 10 years plus. Doing everything from framing to roofing to installing pools to installing miles of fencing. Loved it. We've built at Blue Crocus, we've built over 500 websites. We've helped over 200 clients with SEO in the last 6 years. So it's been fun. We've learned a thing or two. We've made some mistakes and we've learned from them and we continue to learn. So I'm hoping to share some of that here with you today. They say an expert is someone who knows 1% more than you. I'm hoping that you'll get at least, a fraction more info than you already have from attending this webinar. And I am also a believer that you can look like you are a 50-year-old company in a very short time online. So your business can come out of the gate. You can get a Google business profile. You can get a website. You can start linking to your website. You can build an awesome looking website that performs and shows off what you do and all of those things. And you can look like you've been around forever. That is the power of the internet and the power of what you can do when you come into a market. I mean, I've had some people come to me for audits and they say, hey, I've been around forever. And then this company just came in and they took over the market. Like, what's going on? And that's the power of digital marketing, and then you can pair that with in-person marketing and all of that other fun stuff. But there is a lot of power in having an awesome presence online and what you can do with that. So why should I have a website? Well, the graphic there kind of tells it, but a good website can be your 24/7 salesperson. It can be that, that fishing line in the night when you're sleeping, when you're getting ready for the next day. People can be booking in or requesting quotes from you on your website. I'm just going to do a mic check here. Can everybody hear me? And can you see my screen? I just noticed something a little funny on my side on the controls. Just want to make sure that you can see my screen. If someone could comment if you can see, that would be awesome. But that is why you should have a website. I mean, that's one reason you should have a website. You can rank it. You can get more leads that way. Awesome, Steve. Thank you. You can, do a lot of things, but ultimately you want your website to be showing up when people are looking. And then once they land on your website, are they actually turning into customers? Are they actually turning into someone that's going to buy from you? So I'm going to start here just to paint the picture of the power of websites and the power of why you should have a website, and a nice website, and one that operates well, by telling a story of Scott Morse. So Scott is out of St. Louis, Missouri, Arch City Seal Coating, and he's a man of many talents. BMW mechanic for many, many years. He's traveled the country fixing guitars for musicians, some really, really cool bands and musicians. In his business, he had an awesome community reputation. Really poor website when he came to us in 2022, I believe it was, maybe 2023, early 2023. Really poor website. And his website actually went down. So I said, Scott, we got to rebuild this. We can set you up. It's going to be awesome. I had a really good feeling with this one because I'd been following him for 4 or 5 years, maybe 3 or 4 years at that point, and knew what he did, knew the work he did, knew the quality of what he did. And there's some magic that happened. It was really, really fun to see it. So this is his website, his original website here on the left. And here's the website that we created for him over here on the right. So a little bit of an upgrade. You can see we'll get into some of this in our talk here today. But he's got an easy way to get in touch with him. He's got a contact us form. He's got a bit about him. And he's got a picture there. It's something that builds trust right off the bat. He's got another contact us form button here, so people can reach right out to him. And the cool thing is we put his site live, I think it was July or so. And in this next slide, you'll see it's a lot of text. I was trying to figure out some ways to make this easier, but I figured the impact here would be, kind of taken away if I cut it down too much. So I'll just read it here. So August 2023, we launched in June or July of 2023. And he said, so for fun, because that is fun, I went back through all my leads for the last 30 days. Roughly 2/3 of them are not from current clients. And they're coming from either my Google business profile or bid request emails off my website. Just know that the work you did has a huge impact on my business and is very much appreciated. So that was August of 2023. And then April of 2024, when the season opened back up for him, he said the traffic from the website is relentless. Did a little data trivia for fun. I've quoted more work this season so far, it's not even May yet, than I've completed in the 8 years since I started this business. Thank you so much for all your help and advice over the years. Much appreciated. So this is a really cool illustration of why, not only do you need a website, but you need a website that looks good and converts people. So obviously we make websites. That's not what this is about. But there's lots of templates out there. We'll get into website builders. Duda has a lot of excellent templates that you can make a website that looks incredible these days. You don't necessarily need to have someone like us to do it, but you've got to have something out there that looks good. And if you don't have something that looks good, there's no reason not to. So you can use a tool like Duda, for example, build out an awesome website and really, really get things going. So I'm going to ask for some volunteers. If you can drop in the comments your website, I'm going to use that as we go through here to illustrate a couple things. I will pull your website up at some point. So if you're open to, either rave reviews of what you've got going on or some tips as well, that would be awesome if you could drop your website in the comments. I'm going to run some speed tests on it just to kind of show you guys some stuff that you can do there. I'm going to give some tips and do a quick audit there. David, Martell's Hauling, awesome. I haven't looked at your website for a second here, so I will take a peek at that one when we get there. Awesome, thank you, David. Anyone else that's got a website that you want me to look at, let me know, and we'll take a peek. I'm going to just pop over to Facebook here really quickly and share this into a couple of groups, just to make sure that people are seeing this, that need to see this. While I'm doing that, drop in the comments, if you could, where you're from and what you're struggling with your website. And we'll make that happen here. So I'm just going to drop this into a group here. Not a great multitasker, so I went quiet there for a second. I am still here. Just dropping that in there, doing the social media thing. All right, so we're back. David says, thank you. Let's hear where you guys are from and what you're struggling with on your website. So foundation-wise, again, this is for someone who doesn't necessarily have a website. I wanted to kind of hit this for anybody who is watching. Dave says, California, struggling to get leads. Okay, awesome. Well, not awesome that you're struggling, but appreciate that that candor. So if we dive back in here, from a foundational point of view, the basics of getting a website: or get a domain, build at least a homepage, publish that homepage, and then make sure that is indexed. Something that I see a lot of people do is they'll publish their website and then they're like, hey, it's not showing up. Why not? Well, if you don't get your website indexed, then you just can't ever show up in Google. I tried to find a good image of it, but the biggest and the best analogy I can come up with so far is, let's say you write a book. So in a library, there is an index system, so that if you are looking for some obscure book on ancient archaeology, you're going to go to the computer, you're going to type it in, and then they're going to tell you with their fancy numbering system what aisle to go to, what shelf to go to, and where to find what section of the library to find that book on ancient archaeology. It's the same with Google. It's similar with Google, right? So when you put your website up, it's a book. It's a new book that you're putting up and you want it to become bestseller. That's the hope, right? But before it can become bestseller, it has to be indexed. It has to be actually seen and viewable and findable by Google in the search results. So here's an example of Google Search Console. What you need to do is, when you get your website done, go over to Search Console. There's lots of tutorials out there. You can go to our YouTube channel. You can find some tutorials on there as well on how to do this. But go over, get your website set up in Google Search Console, and make that step. And I'll actually just dive into Search Console here, because there's, just as an aside here, there's so much fun stuff that you can do with Search Console. So you can look at search results here, the performance in search results. You can look at it over a time span. Again, I'm going a little off script, but I just think this is important for people to know. You can look at queries here. So let's say I wanted to really dial in our site for junk removal leads. We're getting a fair number of impressions for that. Or junk removal marketing, junk removal leads. I can click into this and I can see which pages on our site are getting the traffic for that. So the page that's getting all the clicks is 22 ways to get more junk removal leads. So I can go to that page, I can look at that, I can run it through ChatGPT to give me some ideas, I can run it through my SEO knowledge, and I can take a peek at what things I need to do to make that page better. And some of those things we'll actually get into in this webinar. But you can do the same thing. So you can go, if I just go to Integrity Junk, I want to be careful what I show here publicly, just for privacy reasons, if people want me to be looking at their site or not. But let's say Integrity Junk. So this is a company I started in 21. Integrity Junk Removal Fredericton. That's a term that's getting a fair number of clicks. Or we can take, junk removal or furniture removal. Those are getting a lot of impressions, but not a ton of clicks. It might be a little bit small on your screen here. See if I can zoom that in a little bit. So it's getting impressions here, but not a ton of clicks. So what do I need to do to get more furniture removal clicks and people clicking into there. So you can start to see, hey, I'm getting a ton of impressions, but I'm not really getting a ton of clicks for that particular term. What can I do to take advantage of that traffic and all those times that I'm showing up in the search results? So you've got to get your page indexed. You just have to. There's no two ways about it. Get your page indexed and make sure that you're taking that step. So that's kind of basics there for websites. Last thing I think here that I talk about is, wow, that is a blurry logo when it's blown up. But these are the two builders that I have a lot of experience with actually building websites in. We basically started building all in Duda, and I still really, really love Duda. The reason that we switched to WordPress for the most part for our SEO clients is it's easier at scale for us to manage a lot of the changes that we have to do with our WordPress clients or with our SEO clients. Duda, if you are starting out, you do not start with WordPress. It's complicated. There's way more things that can go wrong. I still wish Duda could do some of the things that WordPress could do. I've had sites in Duda for 7 years now and never had to make any changes on them plugin wise or security wise. Whereas WordPress, you just got to always stay on top of it. Hosting can be a little bit of a finicky thing. So Duda is fantastic for SEO. Our integrity junk removal site is still in there and still ranking. WordPress is as well. Both excellent for SEO. WordPress at scale is a little bit easier based on the plugins. Duda is great if you're doing it DIY and building out your site yourself. All right, so Scott says, oh, Scott's here. Awesome. Feel free to share any of my website data if that helps. Yeah, I shared the screenshots, Scott, of you, saying that things were just crazy. I think it's back here just a few slides, just the data that came through off your site there. So appreciate you doing that. So now we're going to come out of here. So we're going to dive into some tactical stuff here, some things that when I was doing this, I could have focused on one really small section of this, or I could have, as I did here, kind of take a bigger picture view and look at what are the things that I see people struggling with or getting wrong. So if you guys have other things that you'd like me to touch on in another one, we try to do these about monthly. But one of the technical things that people don't understand is how to structure their website. So we're going to get into this, and I can actually send this to anybody that wants. This will be in the comments of the YouTube live once it goes live and everything. But there's kind of two different ways that you can do it. So you don't really want your website to be more than 3 or 4 levels deep. But if you think of your homepage here, just zoom that in a little bit here for you guys. So you've got your homepage. That's your basic URL. So yourwebsite.com. Then you've got some other pages here. We'll get into that here in a second. But then you've got your service pages. So your main service, which is kind of services. And then under here, you've got all the different services that you offer. A lot of people don't think that, I'll take junk removal. We do a lot in junk removal. And I was just looking at this here. So for example, in junk removal, people think I just do junk removal, but that's not true. You do residential, commercial, clean outs, demolition, removal, all of that. But you also, underneath those, you do, under residential, for example, you do furniture, appliance, electronics, mattress removal, so on and so forth. Under commercial, you've got all of these e-waste, cardboard. Under cleanouts, you've got attics, apartments, estate cleanouts, etc. If we take Scott's site, if he wanted to go crazy on this, he's got driveway seal coating, he's got crack sealing, he's got commercial parking lot seal coating, he's got line striping potentially as a service that he can sub out. There's so many different services that you guys can offer if you really break it down. You might think of it as, hey, I do junk removal, or hey, I do seal coating, or hey, I do plumbing. But inside those services, there's so many different things. And you need to keep in mind that Google doesn't rank websites, it ranks pages. So if you can build a page out for every single service that you offer, then you stand a much higher chance of someone, when they're searching for, let's say, faucet replacement. If you're a plumber, if you've got a page specifically for faucet replacement, then you stand a much higher chance of ranking for that term in your area than if you just have a plumbing website page. So now we've got services, and then we've got service areas. So let's say you serve St. Louis, and then a suburb, and then another suburb, and then another suburb. Well, you can have pages for each of those, kind of general service pages that are really related to that city. Then you can go another level deeper, and this is something that a lot of people don't know, you could have a page that's 1,000 or a website that's 1,000 pages easily. Look at some of the franchises, but you can do this as you continue to grow out. You can build under your, let's say we're going to hit St. Louis, right? So we can have specific service pages for seal coating in St. Louis, and then the other service in St. Louis, and then maybe we have a suburb one, and then we can have that seal coating in that suburb, so on and so forth. So you can build out your website structure like this, where you have your service areas and then it goes out to your services. I have two different structures here. They basically just change slightly the way that the URLs are structured, but the concept is the same. You're going to have your service, and then under all your services, you're going to have service in city 1, city 2, city 3, city 4. So seal coating in St. Louis, and suburb 1, suburb 2, suburb 3. That's how you can really start to dominate, because again, Google's not ranking your website necessarily, it's ranking the pages. So if someone's looking for your specific service in a specific area, you have a chance to dominate by really building out a large number of pages for the different services you offer, really specific to that suburb. Let me know if you have questions on that. That one can be a bit of a mind bender for people. I will say before we go on from that point, you need to make sure that you only, every page has its unique content. So if you're talking about, I got to come up with a suburb here. Let's pull up St. Louis in the maps. Oh, my mouse is glitching out here. I see your question there, Steve. I will get to you in a second. So let's say we're doing St. Louis here. So let's say we want to dominate St. Louis, and then we want to dominate Overland and Creve Coeur. So we'd write a page for seal coating in St. Louis, a page for seal coating in Overland, a page for seal coating in Creve Coeur. This is how you can really start to dominate an area, but you need to have unique content on each one of those pages. Customer stories from Overland, customer stories from Creve Coeur, pictures from those different areas, case studies of jobs that you've done in those different areas. That's how you can make those pages valuable. Steve says, so are those subpages just copies of the pages with the city name? I just answered that actually without even seeing your question. So no, they are not copies of the page with the city name. They are unique pages. There might be some similarities because you can only talk about seal coating so many different ways, but you can talk about unique things of that area. Let's say you're a junk removal company. Each one of these suburbs may have their own disposal regulations, right? So St. Louis has its own disposal. There's dumps around Olivet. There's a bunch of different things that are unique to that city and to the service that you offer. Dumpster rental. Maybe Overland has specific permit regulations for dumpster rental. Maybe if you're a plumber, there's some supply houses nearby that you can talk about. Hey, this is where we get your water heaters from. This is where it's really quick for us to do that. If you need something for us to come to your house, assess things, we can just pop over to the supply house, grab your water heater, and you're good to go. So if you can work in things that are unique to that area, to that service, that's how you win. And don't think of it so much for Google. Try and think of it, if you were the person looking at water heater replacement in Overland, wouldn't you want to see that they can take care of you and they understand the situation in the area? If you're a demolition company and someone's looking for demolition, it'd probably be nice if you could tell them what permits and rules are for demoing a pool. California has really specific demo rules for pools, and each suburb sometimes has different bylaws for that. So tell that to the people that are looking so that they're informed, and now you've got unique content on your page for that city, for that service. Okay, so that's the first big one there, and then we'll dive into some others here. So website speed. I should have done this before if I was planning that well. I'm going to pull up Martell's Hauling. Just going to pull it up on the other screen here. Well, no, I'll do it right here. Martell's Hauling. All right, appreciate you putting this out for us to take a peek at, David. So page speed, it's important to get that right, and make sure that your page is loading fast for a few reasons. But one of those is, again, Google is looking to provide the best service possible for people that are coming to the website or coming to use Google. So if there's a website that's faster than yours and it has similar content and authority, that website's probably going to win because Google knows it's going to give a better experience to the person searching. So we're going to let that run for a bit, and then we'll get into what affects the speed and whatnot. Contrary to what the experts say, size does matter. And what do I mean by that? We'll see that here in a bit when we look at the page speed insights. But images, big images, can really mess with your page loading speed. Videos in the header can mess with your video loading or your page loading speed. A ton of like really heavy plugins, if you have a WordPress site, can mess with that. Code that you're having to render before the page loads can mess with the speed of loading of your website page. So there's a few things you can do. So you can compress or resize your images. It's so important. I even put it here twice. But you can just go to resize image. You can just search for any one of these. In WordPress, there's something called Smush, a plugin called Smush that you can use. If you're on Duda or another web builder that doesn't have plugins, you can go in and you can just resize them before they go up. Resize the image, rename it with what you did and where you did it, and go on your merry way. You can also convert them to WebP or AVIF. So if you're familiar with like JPEG format for pictures, there's now WebP or AVIF formatting. So again, you can just go to Google and say, JPEG to WebP converter. And then you can upload your picture, choose your file or files, and then get them converted. And again, be on your way, rename them, and get them going. So let's pull up David's site here. So it gives us a few things. If you haven't seen Page Speed Insights, I'll kind of walk you through it here real quickly. It gives us the mobile page speed insights, and it gives us the desktop page speed insights. I believe David's building on GoDaddy, just because I see this here that's pretty GoDaddy-esque. And I've looked at this before, but I'm forgetting now. But GoDaddy, you can't control a lot of these things. Duda, you can modify some of the code. WordPress, you can modify some of the code to do it. But you can minimize pictures. You can minimize, calculators, stuff like that. You can try and have things light, as they say, so that it loads quickly. Now mobile, I want to see this above 60 if possible. And it actually does tell you a few things here that you can fix. So it tells you how fast it is to the first contentful paint, which is basically the first bit of loading. And then it goes down here. So reduce JavaScript. I don't think you have control of that in GoDaddy. You can reduce pictures though, the size of pictures. Serve images in next-gen formats. So that's what I just talked there about WebP or AVIF formatting. You can do, make sure that the text remains visible so it doesn't come in. Those are some things that Google's looking at. So pagespeed.web.dev. It's a free application. You can just type in PageSpeed. It'll be the first thing that comes up. But you can take a peek, and that will actually tell you some of the things that you can do. It's just a free tool that you can go use. So that comes down to speed. Make sure your website loads fast. Make sure it's mobile friendly. Make sure that you are, able to, just have things right there for people when they want to see it. All right. Now for some SEO magic. I think there's okay, so sorry, I'm going to answer Steve's question here. This goes back to our topic about website structure. Does using something like ChatGPT for content get looked at negatively by Google? So when you're writing content, absolutely use ChatGPT. The thing is, you need to human edit it so that it can, so that it's reads like a human. And some of these things that we're going to get into here with the SEO magic are ways that you can really make this stand out as really quality content. I'm also going to give you guys a ChatGPT hack here. So I was actually just chatting with Dennis Yu before we hopped on here. But his team has developed 2 GPTs, which are actually excellent. Adrian is a GPT. So you can just go to Explore GPTs, and you can pull up, let's just do it here. So Adrian local page should bring it up. So it's 012 Adrian local service page builder. You can pull that up. start a chat with it, and then I just usually save them in my sidebar here. But build out a page for um, junk removal in Boise. It's gonna mess that up. Noisy, Idaho. All right. And so then it's going to ask you a bunch of questions on your business. You can actually feed it your website. You can feed it information, answer those questions. Um, I actually always prompt it differently. Sorry. I was in a hurry here. So build out a page for Boise, Idaho. Ask me all the questions you need to make this the best page for my business. So then it will prompt you with those questions. So Steve, this will help you tremendously when you are writing this. So it's basically going to ask you for business information. It's going to ask you for hours, your address, what you do, same day or emergency services. What's your pricing model? Do you do residential, commercial? And it will hand all of those things to you. Or sorry, you're going to hand all of those things back to it just in an answer. And then it will create a first draft. And then you'll say, awesome, can you make this any better? What else do you need to make this the best page on junk removal in Boise? At which point it's going to ask you some more questions of info and so on, and so give you some suggestions. So this is basically a GPT that Dennis's team has built that really humanizes it. And then you're going to go through and edit it at the end and do some of the things that we're about to get into here. Great question, though, Steve. So SEO magic, again, hitting some of those things that people tend to miss, and hopefully some things that you guys haven't thought of too as we go through here. So interlinking. When you write a page, you need to make sure that it's linked to at least 5 other pages on your website, and at least 5 other pages are linked back to that page. You want everything on your website to be linked together so that the user can go to different pages that make sense, so that Google can crawl back and forth between the pages that make sense. And it all kind of happens together. And then the added bonus here is link out to a bonus authority link, whether it's a local dump in the case of junk removal, whether it's the city permitting in the case of a lot of different home service businesses, whatever it is, link to something authoritative and useful for the user that lends credibility to your website. So we talk about backlinks all the time. I've done a couple webinars on that. Getting links in from other websites is awesome, but also linking out and sourcing info from another website that's authoritative, like a government website or a local permitting website or whatever, is beneficial for your business. So interlinking, don't forget that. When you're writing a page on junk removal, then you can link it out to your furniture removal, your appliance removal, your playset removal page, and then you can link back from a blog to your junk removal page. And you can kind of make sense of how everything goes together by guiding the user through your content to kind of say, hey, here's another piece of content that you can see about this. Hey, we do furniture removal, and then it takes them to the furniture removal page. All good stuff and really good for SEO as well. Now we're going to get into this side of things that comes with EEAT. So I'm just going to pull this up here, and EEAT, I say it so often that I forgot to make a slide for it actually, but EEAT is expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Google is looking for that specifically on your website. Do you show expertise? Do you show authority? Do you show trustworthiness, reviews from clients? Do you show that you know what you're talking about and that you're actually legit in the area because you say, hey, we have actually worked with the Walmart. We've seal coated the parking lot of Walmart in St. Louis, 5 times over the last 10 years. We've, done so on and so forth. So expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness are things that really matter. And at the end of the day, if you just think about it from the perspective, again, of the user, Google is selfish. It wants to serve its users within reason. Then you can be thinking about it. Hey, if I'm going to a website and I'm going to look for a dumpster rental or a pool demo or seal coating, what are the things that I want answered? What are the things that I would really love to see when it comes to answering my questions, pricing, local knowledge, giving me tidbits on the local landfills, giving me some plumbing advice that I can follow before I call you. That sort of thing is massive for your website. And we're getting a little bit more into the SEO side of things, but when it comes to your website, don't miss out on these. So the first one here is the author or owner page. Now, a lot of people squirm when they see this, but if you're a business owner, you need to have a LinkedIn page. And having an author page is basically the version of LinkedIn on your website. And what this does is it links your LinkedIn page, your Facebook page, your expertise as a business owner, any places that you've been mentioned on podcasts, any places that you've been mentioned in the local news. You can correlate and collate all of those here on this owner page, on this page, talking about what you do, where you do, how you do it, a little bit of history about you. It's a little bit different than the business about us page. It's literally just about you. The ultimate goal for you as a business owner, this is why I was messaging Dennis actually. So if we look up my name here, you can see all the different places that I've showed up. This is called a knowledge panel. Google knows who I am, and Google knows the business that I work on, and it knows what I'm about and what I do and all of that. And so it's basically collated this information here, consolidated it here for people when they come to get a glimpse of what it is that I do. You can do this too, and it's really powerful for you to start doing some of that when you do it on your website. So if we go over to Junk Rescue and to their blog, we're going to see that page that I showed you for Jake here in the page. Oh, I took it off the screen there, didn't I? Okay, I'll bring it back. But the reason this is important here is if we go into a blog, you've got an author here for the blog. So everything matters. All the little details that you're doing on your website matter. And every small detail adds up. And are you building trust with Google? Are you building trust with people visiting? So if someone here is coming to visit this, they're looking at this blog for Junk Rescue, they're like, it's written by Jake Still. They click on this, it takes us to his page, and they're like, oh, interesting. It's starting to humanize the brand a little bit. It's starting to humanize him. It's, for Google, it's collating and consolidating some data. But now we can see, Jake is the co-founder, CEO. He's a top 100 CEO in Philadelphia. He's got some stats here, started the business. He's got recognized in Titan 100 top 100 CEOs, 15 trucks, over 30 employees. He's been featured in Forbes, so on and so forth. And so now we start to see, okay, this isn't just any fly-by-night junk removal company. It's a legit endeavor that's looking to really dominate for their location. If we look up Smedley Plumbing, I won't look at all our clients here, but if we look up Smedley Plumbing, Mitch has got the same thing. He's got stats about him. It talks about the fact that he's a founder and mentor at Tradewinds Consulting. He's been a lifelong plumber, why he started plumbing, so on and so forth. So it goes through a bit about him. Now your story is different. Everybody has an X factor, and that's what's beautiful about business is we can all lean into that X factor. And this is a way that you can do that. So build out an author page, build out an owner page on your website, telling people a bit about your history. In Scott's case, we didn't build out one for him yet, but we certainly could. I mentioned this at the beginning, but long history as a BMW mechanic, travels the country repairing guitars on another side gig of his, and just is very involved in the community and does a lot of cool stuff. That personalizes the business. And when he goes to quote a job, might be a talking point for his sales call. Hey, I didn't know you did guitars. That's cool. I love this band. Have you ever heard them play live or whatever? It does so many things. It's good for your SEO. It's good for your sales. It's good for your customer relationships. So get an author page up. Reach out if you need help on that. Again, you could even go to ChatGPT. You can look at what some other people have done, but get an author page up there and make that happen. A meet the team page. Now, this is where people start to see beyond the owner and they start to see into the company. So this is our meet the team page on Blue Crocus. I had the team pull together some funnies here. Are you an early bird or a night owl? What's your go-to productivity hack? What's your hype song? What's your emoji? In Slack, when I'm communicating with the team, I'm using the rocket emoji all the time. It's like, all right, let's go. Let's launch. Proline parking lot maintenance. Their meet the crew team is awesome. So they've got, who they are, what their position is, job title, favorite machine to operate. And I actually stole the hype song thing from them on ours. So they've got some really cool ones, even down to their dog. Hype song, who let the dogs out? favorite core values, favorite machine to operate. This is a very personalized look at the inside of this company because they've let us kind of see a little bit of their personal side and not just the corporate side. From the rest of their website, we can see they absolutely, dominate. They're really, really solid. They've got awesome core values, so on and so forth. But then we can see their team side a bit more. And what does that do for you as a customer? It lets you kind of get to know them, get to know what they stand for, get to know a little bit of their fun side, and personalizes it. People still buy from people, no matter how prolific AI becomes. The more people and personalized your business transactions can become, the more you're going to stand out, because people are trying to move away from that because it's easy and lazy. Definitely use AI. I'm not bashing AI, but the more you can personalize things and give people the answers that they need and let them see you, the more you can stand out in your market. Pricing. This is a big one for people. People really don't like to put pricing because they think it's going to lock them in. You don't have to put your exact pricing. In our case, obviously, we put our pricing here. In Junk Rescue's case, they've got like a visualizer so you can see different pricing estimates. For any business out there, you can still talk about your pricing. You don't need to put your solid numbers, but you can talk about what goes into pricing. For junk removal, what's going to save a client cost? If you bring it out to the curb, it's going to be a lot cheaper. For seal coating, what's going to save you cost? Well, we can maybe do part of your parking lot. Maybe we do it in stages. You can talk about these things. For plumbing, what's going to save you pricing? Well, we can go with the cheaper option here, or we can go with the one that's going to last a little bit longer. Roofing, same thing. Do you want the 10-year shingles or the 30-year shingles? I hear they have 50-year shingles out, which is just ludicrous. But you can talk about what's going to affect pricing. You're going to answer these same questions in person when they ask. So why not answer them on your website so that they can see before they even call and they're already sold? They're not calling you to get a quote. They're calling you to schedule an appointment. It's important for your customers. And again, it's important for Google. It's actually going to become really important because they're going to start comparing pricing, and they're going to have AI shopping that calls around to different businesses and gets pricing and then gives them answers. That's something that maybe you guys didn't know, but it's coming. I think it's already here in some markets where I can go on and I can just ask Google to go find the best company, and they'll call around to different businesses and they'll come back with a quote. And now I'm not even interacting with the businesses. The AI is. So get the things on there that need to be on there. Reviews. So a lot of people understand I want a review slider on my website. That's great. What if you're writing a page for furniture removal and you talk about when there's an attic situation where Mrs. Smith had a piece of furniture, an old sofa in her attic, didn't know if she could get it down. We went up there, she took it, we, dismantled it and got it down. And this is what Sally had to say. The boys at XYZ Junk Removal were incredible. Really appreciate them coming out. Just what a pleasure to have them out. Now you've talked about what you can do, how you can do tricky things, and you've talked about how excited she was that you came out. So you can intersperse those on your website, and kind of have those stories and those anecdotes and those things showing for people to see. Don't miss out on those opportunities. Personalization again. So real families we've helped. This is an example here of a customer in Powell, Ohio. So basically, they helped the Carrison family clean out their 3-bedroom home after their father's passing. 1.5 tons of material, donated 20 boxes to a local church. Supported an estate attorney by cleaning a hoarded property in 72 hours, prepping for market, raising its sale value by 18%. This is crazy, right? But this is the stuff that's talking to their ideal client on a hoarder clean out page or an estate clean out page for what they do. How can you talk about that? Look at every service you have. So let's take David's site. Where are we here? Martell's Hauling. So he does jacuzzi removal. Let's just pick a random one, right? So he's got jacuzzi removal here. Looks like the images probably could be cut down a little bit in size. So that's going to help some. But see if you can get a review from an actual client that you've removed a jacuzzi from. Call them up. Say, hey, Mrs. Smith, I know we removed a jacuzzi. Can you just say, tell me a couple things that made us stand out in the service? You don't even have to get a Google review for it. But now you can turn that in. Mrs. Smith said this and this and this about our company. And this is why you should call us for jacuzzi removal, because it's so easy, it's so seamless. And she was so thrilled that we were in and out in an hour. You've added copy to your page, which is good for SEO, and it's sales copy because it's another human who's in their area who wants to, you know, I forget what I was saying because I saw Steve's thing here, but it's from another person in the area who also needed that service, just like you do. Steve says pricing is tricky. Race to the bottom if AI shopping is just basing on pricing online. It's true. That's why when you're talking about pricing, talk about the factors that go into pricing, and do that authoritatively. Do that as if you're talking to your, I'm going to say grandmother. Maybe she's wondering, what is it? How does the pricing? What is the pricing? How is it come up with? How do you come up with your pricing? What sorts of things matter? What sorts of things change the pricing, affect the pricing? Those are the things that you can do. You don't always have to tell the exact price. You could say maybe it starts at, maybe it starts at this, and this is what goes into the final price. And here's a range of pricing. Those are things that you can do. So personalize it with stories of clients, owner quotes. Here's one. We're working on a page for Camo Crew Drunk Removal with Andy Wines. And I just did a mock quote here, but basically you could take every page that you have. So let's take the jacuzzi removal page that David has. But in Andy's case, we just said one of the things we value most at Camo Crew Drunk Removal is partnerships. So this is for an office clean out page that we're doing. And we're building that out to reflect, hey, we work with property managers, we work with realtors, we work with the people that are in the grind and they just need this fixed. So every client is a partner, every property manager, every office manager is a partner, and we take that really seriously. So it's a bit of personalization from the owner that speaks directly to the person who's reading it. David could do the same thing. Jacuzzis are our favorite. We love getting in there, solving people's problems, taking a messy, old, grungy jacuzzi off your hands, and just allowing you some space to get a new one in or to retool that property for something else. You can make quotes from yourself. There's no one saying that you can't. All right, so that was reviews. That was personalization. Case studies. People miss out on this opportunity. I just did a case study of Scott in this webinar. And you can do this for every job. Every job you do is a story. So pick a few. Pick a jacuzzi removal job, David, and talk about, we went in, this was the problem, this is the solution, this is how long it took, this is the price that we did. Now, prices may vary for other ones. This was the price at the time based on the size of the jacuzzi, based on how far it was from the road, based on, how busy our schedule was, whatever went into the pricing. Say prices may vary, but this is what this one cost, and this is why. So you can work some of those things in, building trust, building authority. We went and we, called an electrician before to come out and unhook it, and we used XYZ electricians, and they were awesome. And so you're getting all of these things tied together to show Google and to show the future client that you are the person to go to for that job. So here's a plumbing one. They talk about drain cleaning in New York City, Panera flagship store. Blue Water Plumbing and Heating chosen to work on Panera's flagship store, so on and so forth. Here's one for a drunk removal company. Big storm home clean out in Bronx. Supermarket store closing clean out in Sunset Park. A property management one here. So they talk about the name of the company, how big it was, the scope, the time frame, so on and so forth. You can make it a big case study, a whole page, or maybe you weave in a case study again about this jacuzzi. Maybe you have a mini case study on the jacuzzi page, and you helped Dana you get her jacuzzi removed so that her husband could get the backyard leveled and whatnot. You can get creative with that process. All right, we're coming up on time. A couple more slides here. Last but not least of my points today is you've done all this stuff. You've got people to your page. You've got people there seeing what you do and where you do it and how you do it, and that they like you, and that you have case studies and you work with other companies and you've got links to authoritative websites. But if you don't have an easy way for them to contact you, you're just missing out on leads, and you're making your life so much harder than it needs to be. So in David's case here, he's got a number, he's got a free quote button. That's great. So make sure that they can at least get a hold of you a couple different ways: by a quote form, by text, by phone, by email. People don't want to just call. Some people want to call, some people want to text, some people want to do the quote form. So get out there and make those things happen. Again, this is not the comprehensive look at everything you need to do on your website. We just don't have enough time in an hour to do that. But if we were to kind of go back through here, pick one thing and then take action on it. Pick something weekly, pick a time weekly, and then just work consistently on your website. Maybe you go through and say, hey, I'm going to add reviews, stories, case studies to every service page on my website over the next 52 weeks. That's a lot of service pages, and that's a lot of pages that are being tuned up and dialed in to help get more clients. So take action. I'd love to hear if you guys have questions or comments here. If you guys want to drop a website, I've got 10 more minutes here. Wanted to open it up for questions. So I'll just kind of go through David's site here. I'm going to do a quick audit while people are commenting. If you guys want to comment, if you found this useful, please drop that in the comments too. What could have been useful or what could have been better. So what I did here is I want to see if David's website is indexed. So I actually typed site : in front of the website URL, and then I just pressed enter. So that is a search operator that allows us to see what pages on his website are indexed. So he's actually got a lot of pages indexed here, which is awesome. I can see already he's got some service area pages dialed in as well. Appreciate you, Francisco. Have an awesome day. David says, I've compressed most photos, but how do I know which ones are not compressed? You can download them. I know that's a bit of a fun one. You can download them, or you can also go into the details and look at them too. But yeah, so he's got these pages here. So he's got some pricing here. Just make sure all of your service area pages are different, David. That's going to be big. One thing I'd love to see here on your site that you don't have is pictures of you. You got this here, but I don't see anything about you. I don't think there's a single photo that has you in it. We got to see your face. No matter how ugly your mug you think it is, if you do, I'm speaking for everybody here. If you think your face is ugly and you don't want to put it on your website, people are seeing you when you walk up to their house and give them a quote. So, oh, there's one that popped up here. That's not an ugly mug. That's a great mug. Put that face all over the website. Get pictures of you in front of your truck. Get pictures of you with happy, smiling clients. Get pictures of you, doing the thing that you do. If I came here, I would probably take this out because you've got the logo up there, and then you've got it again here, taking up a huge amount of scroll time. So I'd probably take that out. But yeah, get your picture on there. Where is the About Us page? Again, David, I'm not ripping into your website here. I'm trying to give you some accurate, helpful stuff here. Appreciate you volunteering. Why pick us? I don't see the About page. Am I missing it? Got some blogs, which are awesome. Okay, let me go to the bottom of the site here. Got the blogs. We got this. You have a whole page on this, honestly, David, and talk about the different stuff locally, the different regulations, the different dumps that take it. Talk about, I would build out a page on hazardous materials and talk about what dumps take which hazardous materials, where to take paints and aerosol cans and oils and stuff like that if you can't take them to the dump. A lot of dumps have a free dump day where they'll take that. Talk about that. It might be somewhere else on the internet, but talk about it and then link out to their page. Junk removal specifically has free dump days often in most markets. So make a page on free dump days. Free dump days in every one of these areas. Talk about this on every single one of these areas for the dump that's closest to them. And then if you can rank for free dump days in Coachella, then you're going to get the 364 days out of the year when it's not the day that is a free dump, and you're going to get the people looking for that. I still can't find the About. So you gotta make that more prominent. All right, Gary says Hinken Disposal, so we'll take a look at that. disposalllc.com. I misspelled it. That's not. Don't freak out. Okay, what did I? Hinken. Oh, Hinken's Disposal. Guys, you're catching me live. It's not Gary's fault here. Awesome. Okay. I feel like I've looked at this site recently. Don't know why. Um, cool. This is awesome. I'd love to see your face here, Gary. Here's a good example, actually. So here's what I mean. So right off the bat, Dominic is like jumping out of a dumpster, which is kind of funny and kind of eye catching. But we also get like he's a person. He seems friendly. He's dressed well. He's got branded clothing. He's just happy to be delivering dumpsters. He's got pricing here. Obviously, that's a little bit more relevant for dumpsters. He's got his dog here. I think he's got a specific about us page too. So yeah, those are some examples there of really dropping that. But I'd love to see your face over here, Gary, somewhere doing something. And you can even take a picture of you, cut the background out, and then just put you standing in front of the dumpster. You don't have to have a picture of you standing in front of the dumpster all in one picture. Just edit it in, kind of like how we did it here. Like these are two separate pictures. Free estimates. Again, I want to see more pictures of people. I really do. That's something that I'm really started to be sensitive to. Is like if someone has pictures of people, I can instantly relate to them. I know who's showing up at my house. Well, within reason. Obviously, the owner's not going to show up all the time, but that's going to be big. So easy to get a hold of. Yeah, easy to do this. I would probably get some more content. Like if you're trying to do SEO wise, I try and get some more content on here if you can. But overall solid looking site. Let's see here. Okay, so you've started to do this with Augusta. So where I mentioned the services, so dumpster rental, he's got service area pages for all of dumpster rental. And then Augusta, he's got all the different services that he offers in Augusta. Solid. Love that. Now, I would hope when I go into these pages, again, we're getting a little bit more into SEO, but I'm actually just going to take a peek here. What are the headings? So expert in Augusta, book an appointment, appliance removal in Augusta. Okay, cool. You've got Augusta kind of showing up in there often. Here's I'm going to go way off the rabbit trail here. For those of you that are still here, I am going to blow your mind, I hope. So salience, I'm getting real technical, but salience is something that allows you to see, it's a metric that Google uses to see how relevant a page is for a particular service. So in this case, I'm going to take appliance removal in Augusta. I'm going to copy all the text on this page. I'm going to drop it in the salience analyzer, and you can actually ask ChatGPT to analyze it for salience, but it's going to analyze this for salience, and this is looking at what it thinks is the most relevant entities. So not just keywords, not just words, but entities on the page, and it's looking at it's kind of ranking them. So the ones in the top four here, Augusta is one, and appliances. So appliances is good. I want to see appliance removal kind of show up. So I want to see this much higher. Appliances it could be an appliance store. It could be something like that. So you can actually take all of that content that I just did, and we're going to go to ChatGPT. There's other tools you can use this, but I want you to modify the salience of this page for appliance removal Augusta. Again, guys, keep in mind, ChatGPT doesn't do all the work, but it can do a lot of the work. And then you can edit that page content again to humanize it after, to add in some reviews, to add in some case studies, to add in some stuff like that. But if Google doesn't think that this page is actually about appliance removal, even though you've got some of the markers for good SEO in here, then it's not going to rank it for appliance removal. So if you can use something like salience, this is a tool I use, Zenith. It's like $9 a month. You could use ChatGPT to give you some features. There's some different things on salience out there, but this kind of gives you an idea of what Google's actually seeing and what it's thinking this page is about. So point, that's not really relevant. We want to see, junk removal business, Augusta, and appliance removal probably be the ones that we really get out. So it says this is an enhanced version. Let's try it. Let's see if it's enhanced. So we've just edited it, and I'm just going to delete this out, paste this in, and find the salience. Anyone have any questions else before we jump out? So junk removal team, Augusta, Hinkins disposal. Didn't quite get it there. Appliance removal is in the second row though. It was down like fourth or fifth. So that's an improvement, right? And then you can tweak the headings, you can tweak the content. But again, this is getting a little bit more into SEO technical. But if your page isn't something that Google thinks is about appliance removal in Augusta, you're not going to rank for appliance removal in Augusta. Someone else that has a better salience is going to rank better for that. So, guys, with that, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you guys came away with 1% more knowledge. Something that's really important to me, though, is are you going to go apply this and are you going to go take action on this on your website? Because as a business owner, we can control a lot of things. We can't control a lot of things, but you can control the work that you put in and the knowledge that you learn. And you can go out and take action on that, make those changes. Reach out to me if you've got questions. I love answering questions. I love nothing more than people that haven't paid me a cent over the years, but they take action on all the tips that I've dropped. That's the most rewarding thing. I love all our paying clients, but I absolutely love when people go out and grab their luck by the horns and do stuff as well. So reach out, David, reach out if you need any help. I know you said you're struggling with getting leads, so happy to chat as well. But guys, this is some website tips. I will see you guys on the next one. Appreciate you guys.